People of Rezzed, sorry to start while you're sitting down, but we've got a lot to get through. It's the very exciting Creative Assembly Game Jam. So yesterday, if you were here or not, some very talented people, well, we're yet to see if they're talented, but I presume they are, spent all day making a game, and they didn't find out the brief or the theme of the game until yesterday, at which point they knuckled down and made their games. And the brief was the 80s. So that's the theme of their games. See if you can spot their inspirations. So we're going to see each one of the 6 games presented for 5 minutes at a time, and then our judges, who I'll introduce in a moment, will score them out of 10. At the end, we will decide a winner. So our judges today, they're going to stand up and give you a little wave. So I'll work from left to right here. So from Splash Damage, we have Ed Stern. And our centre judge, the Danny Minogue, down here, is Keith from The Guardian. And finally, on the end, we have the Simon Cowell of our panel. It's Chris Avellone from Obsidian Entertainment. So, we do have a lot to get through. So, let's start with our first team. That is Legion of the Jams and their game, Tango Fiesta. All right. Good luck. Hello. Okay, you got 5 minutes from the go.
5 minutes, right, okay. So this is us, this is Legion of the Jams. We got briefed with the 80s, and that basically meant one thing to the 4 guys on our team, who are myself, Andrew, Code, Andrew. We've got wonderful sound man, Gavin, down the front there, and Ewan, Let's Brock. Give him a wave, there we go. So, yes, the 80s meant one thing to us. Kind of a running theme, right? But this is the most important one to us. Boom, Predator. So, more specifically what the 80s meant to us, and our game, is this. So we really wanted to play that. And we're banking that hopefully you guys want to play it as well. So to us, the 80s is all about action heroes. Maybe they're not so relevant anymore, but one time they had their glory days. It's also about big burly men with massive guns shooting lots of plants and maybe some bad guys. So along those lines, we went with kind of a classic top-down shooter idea. It's very 80s in itself, hopefully. And rather than scoring points, you get a body count, again, very 80s. And in addition to that, we count how many decades of relevance your actions have generated for you. So without further ado, so now would be a good time to die. Sounds like a movie quote, doesn't it? Who wants to have a go? Because it's a wireless controller. Oh, this guy right here. Stay there, it's okay. Or you can come up, I don't know. Oh, hey. That's fine, that's cool. So there we go. Let's see how the body count and the decades of relevance you can get. Also, points for people who can tweet the 4 kind of action heroes that we've based the guys on, and what kind of a medallion the guy at the top's got as well. So he shouldn't last too long. So you've got multiple kinds of bad guys. You know, there's always someone who's like towers over you, even though you're like a roided up, scary dude. And when they come out of the grass, they speed up. So there's a little bit of a balance in clearing the way. But while they're in grass, they're in cover. Okay, I think he needs some backup. That's pretty much it, really. Like, but that in itself, we think, is very 80s. It's like it's just what you can see what it is. You can see the appeal. If you don't like it, don't play it. There you go. Maybe we get bonus points for finishing early.
Is it coming to console?
Green light soon. Of course. And if you like the soundtrack, it's up on SoundCloud. Bandcamp. Sorry, it's on Bandcamp. So if you like steel drums and ridiculous electric drum fills, then download it.
Which people do from the 80s. Have you got any Arnie impressions to fill the time?
It's not a tumor. Get to the chopper. What other ones are there?
I'm a cop, you idiot.
That's a good one, yeah. I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle.
Only 20 seconds
20
left.
seconds. Yeah, just Arnie noises. Okay, Thank you. Thank you.
So there we go. That was Tango Fiesta. So our next game, we have XMPT Games, and they are here to present Betta to the max. So onto the stage, please. Show us what you've got. Are you lecturing? I'll take this over with me. I'll leave the timer for you here.
Okay, cool. Done.
So away you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, picture the scene. It's 1980 and the world is at war. The world of video recording and storage. In 1975, Betamax held 100% market share, and yet by 1985, the format was pretty much obsolete thanks to the rise of VHS. Our game is about Captain Betamax and his struggle against the invading evil of VHS. Now, the main mechanic of the game is that in order to get a higher score, whenever you die or reach the end of the level, you want to have another go at it to keep on racking up your score. So you rewind back to the beginning of the level and start again. The trouble is that because he's in cheap, mass-produced VHS world, Captain Betamax is going to find that the quality of everything degrades every time that it's replayed. Now, we've not had a great act to follow because standing up here in retrospect, it's quite clear that we're not very experienced jammers and we tried to do a lot more than we could in 9 hours. So what we've got, our game Betta to the max, is really pre-alpha to the max at best.
So I'm sure you're all chomping at the bit to see what we actually managed to produce during the 9 hours we got for the Creative Assembly Game Jam. So without further ado, Richard is going to do a little play of what we managed to deliver in the time. You'll notice the score in the top left. As Captain Betamax moves to the right, the score goes up, and as he moves to the left, his score goes back down again. Because this is all about getting to the end of the level, and the further you get, the more your score is. I also want to draw your attention to the terrain, which completely intentionally will gradually degrade as the tape rewinds. So as he reaches the end of the level, the tape rewinds and he plays back what he did originally, and you'll notice the terrain has started splitting apart and basically starting to degrade. So we decided we were going to do this in XNA. I think Unity is used by a lot of teams, and in retrospect, although we're quite experienced with XNA, it did come with its downfalls. So we had to write the physics from scratch a couple times, actually, thanks to SVN. We had to write all the resource loading from scratch, the parallax, we had to write the music from scratch, and all the animation loading resource stuff in the 9 hours. So on this next rewind, you'll see Captain Betamax starts to feel the effects of being rewound so many times. He's just a shadow of his former self now. And he starts glitching through landscapes. Is he going to glitch? He'll start glitching around as the tape skips. And eventually, he'll break down to just a shadow of his former self. And the game finishes. So, thank you. So one of the things we wanted to put in the time when we got the artwork done for were some of the enemies. And the idea would be that these evil VHS cassettes would come in as the tape starts degrading to attack Captain Betamax. Ed and I mentioned you could get a higher score both by getting to the end of the level and rewinding the tape, or by dying and having the tape rewind. But there wasn't actually anything in the demo that could kill him. So these are the things that would have killed him. Also, ideally, we would have made it such that the level got more difficult the more times you rewound, as artifacts got introduced to the tape, so rifts would open up, platforms would start moving, and things would generally glitch around. So just to finish our presentation, I'm going to hand over to Captain Betamax himself to share a few pearls of wisdom that we gleaned from participating in this indie game jam that any future game jammers might want to take on board.
Sadly, the awesome voice acting that I recorded for Captain Betamax is another thing that we didn't have time to make into the game. So I'm going to have to do this bit live. Pearl of advice number one, we're quite new to game jams. We think we've learned that it would make sense to make use of existing frameworks. Don't try and develop things from scratch, because it's not really that clever. Secondly, we learned it's a lot easier to have a clever, smaller idea and then build on it, rather than to come up with an idea that's too big and try and take stuff out of it as the day goes on. But still, it's been great fun to be part of this jam. The other teams have made some awesome games, so don't worry, like that's not the quality bar. We've seen some really impressive indie developers. We've got to work with them. We've had a great time. So it's been a pleasure to be part of Rezzed and part of the Creative Assembly Game Jam. Thank you very much for having us.
All right, thanks, guys. So that was XMPT Games. So Team 3, we have the Misfits, which are over here. Okay, and their game, We Jammin'. So bring it on. Are you using the Alexa? You got your mic?
I've got mic.
Okay, you go. I'll stand here and keep time, unless you can prance around here if you like, or.
Okay, cool. Good, mic works. So we're the Misfits. Because we're a team of individuals who actually met at the jam. So we had to kind of go around, talk about who we were, what we could do. And we came up with a game called We Jammin'. So if we wide to the next slide. Hatim, a child of the 80s. Our graphics pixel artist. Myself, I used to make games in the 80s. Thomas came all the way from Austria, and Luca, a modern developer.
Hi.
Hi. So we wanted to be true to the 80s, and to do that, we wanted to do something that actually could have been written in the 80s, that used, could have been done with an 8-bit machine, could have been done with pixel art, and the cheesy synthesizers and tracker sounds of the time. So obviously we used Unity 3D. Visual Studio 2012, C#, the latest PaintShop Pro, a top-of-the-range Korg synthesizer, and Audacity. The game we came up with is kind of an obvious genre. It's a colourful retro skateboard-driven platforming endless runner game, which is easy to say. Handing over, that's the game. Shall we?
Right, I'll give you a quick demo.
So it's the 80s. Disco's dead. Flares are out. Punks became parents. So actually, there's a thing there. My 11-year-old has been assisting us through this jam. It's been a great experience for him. I'd recommend that as another thing to take on board if you're doing a jam. Bring your kids along. And
all right, so here's the start screen. We're not doing 2 players, run out of time. So you're starting your little band. You got this guy. It is an endless runner, but you can stop because it's easy as a demo. And each track will sort of collect 80s icons, and that'll sort of... That's your vocalist there, and he's going to sort of start singing a bit. I got to 3rd track, and if I complete this track, this bar will fill up and I'll get more volume. And the aim of the game is to get every bar past this volume, so I'll get a bit of bass line in here. And if you hit these things, these are mental blocks, which are the enemy of creativity, and they'll knock the bar back down. So you jump around and do that, and if you press down when you're on the bottom level, that happens. So, whoops. So I'll try and put it all together now, but I'm not actually very good at this game, despite having done it all yesterday. All right, let's play some music. Rubik's Cube, classic. So that was the voice was running a vocoder on that synth too. If I go up to the top track here. And you'll notice when I actually win the game, nothing happens because we didn't get around to that. And there it is. Starting your 80s band, picking up 80s stuff. And that little synth track was done by Tom11 here, so well done. That was awesome. And I think we got the time left.
30 seconds.
Huh?
30 seconds.
Brilliant. Here's what we didn't have time to do. So the idea was we wanted a bit of strategy in it, and we had this idea of the bars would go down over time, so you'd have to be clever about which one you got. That's why each different track had a different win condition. So do I get the one with an easier win position here, get that locked in first, or do I save that till last and that? And power-ups that you could think about, like maybe one freezes the decay of a row. It was a bit easy because the decay wasn't very fast, but we figured you could put a lot of power-ups in there and add a lot of strategy to the model as well.
All right,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, super stuff. There was some good dancing going on as well over here. So that was We Jammin'. So Team 4 is God Jam It. Kind of a theme going on here. And they're here to present the 80s Spies. So, God Jam It, up to the stage, please, and show us what you've got.
So mic on?
Okay.
No. Cool. Yeah, so we just get the screen on. All right. So it was 4 of us. Yuji over there did the code. I did code as well. And our art guy and our sound guy, Ellen and Tom, they had to leave already. But we'll run the show from here, so it's all good. And yeah, so the theme. We thought, the 80s doesn't necessarily have to mean the time. But it could be, the age, if you're in your 80s. Or the number. It's like 80-somethings. So we thought, what could we do with this? And so we might combine it with the 80s as a period. So, was it disco? Was it the Challenger? Old games? Michael Jackson? Maybe the Berlin Wall or Cold War and spies? So I'm from East Germany, so I thought that might be interesting because it's part of my history. So it's like, in East Germany there were all these kind of hidden spies and the Stasi was there. So it's kind of a cool thing. So I thought I might want to make a game about this. So figuring out who is spies and who isn't. So you're never sure if who's a spy and who isn't. So our game contains 80 spies. So we have like 80 spies, and it's a local multiplayer game. We thought, why limited to 2 players? So we have 2 to 18 players. I mean, we don't have 18 controllers here. So we'll show it with 4 players maybe. And you're one of 80, out of the 80 spies. And you don't really know in the beginning who you are because all of them look identical. So first you have to figure out who are you by moving around a bit. And then you have to collect a suspicious looking suitcase. And that will contain ammo, so you have a shot. and then you have to collect the other human spies. Now, it's kind of tricky to find out because they all look the same. So you have to see when a suitcase disappears, that means, oh, there was another spy. So you have to look if you can detect suspicious behavior and try to shoot him. Now, of course, if you shoot them, they'll see where the shot comes from. So you reveal yourselves. So it's a kind of a balance of trying to stay hidden and kill everyone else. The settings is 80s disco. So, of course, you know, the disco is not that. Such nonsense. All right, so we'll do a quick, show you a quick video of the development, actually, for each hour, or more or less. If you rewind back to the beginning, maybe. This is how the game looks 2 hours in. This is 6 hours remaining, so you can see there's like movement already. The players are visible now. It all looks kind of blocky. So there's a menu. Oh, I got a menu guy. And some colorful text, and it still looks the same. So we thought, no, okay, let's put some dance floor in, yeah. But still some bugs here, so I don't know. So maybe too many enemies, I don't know, yeah. So I had to tune it a bit, so now it looks a bit better. Oh, we had the spies in already, so a nice 3D thing. So I think it's almost done. It's only 1 hour left now, though. It's like, can we get it going? And it's looking quite good already. So, you know, it's like the spies moving around. And yeah, to show you the finished game, yeah, we'll run it now. See how we look. So we made it in Unity. So basically, we didn't do all the mistakes the previous team did. So that's good, I guess. But we still, yeah, we made some mistakes of our own. So we actually didn't get to test the game before. All right. Is this one working? Yeah, that one. All right. So now, because we are all hidden, you will have no idea who we are. And at the beginning, this is huge, my God. We will have no idea who we are either. So we have to, you know, you can wiggle around in the circle, trying to figure out who you are. But obviously that means, so we're going to cheat here a bit. So I will reveal myself. So I'm this guy. Right. So now we're trying to hide from each other. Normally we wouldn't know who the other guys are. So we're trying to pretend to move like, you can tell it's the 80s by how well they dance. You know, it's like kind of, oh dear. So I collect this suitcase and then I get a shot. Ah. And this is the game. So let's play another one, a quick one. And now we're playing, oh dear. Okay, I got me, I think. Ah! Very good, very good. That one works. All right. So now we've got 4 controllers, so we can have 4 players. You could have up to 8 players because there could be 2 per controller, but we're not going to try this now. So I thought we're going to have 3 players from the audience, or maybe the judges. Do the judges want to play, or yeah?
I'm afraid you're nearly out of time, so quick.
A quick match. Right, here you go. So one of them might not work, is that right? So you press A, please. Another one? All of them press A? Ah, okay, only one works, that's unfortunate. So, yeah, you play against UG.
3 out of 10.
Yeah, that's Microsoft's fault, the Xbox controllers. All right, so, yeah, good luck. I mean, the first time you play, it's always very confusing because, you know, you just suddenly wake up as a spy. And by the way, there's only 40 agents on there because they're double agents, right? That makes sense. Oh, wow, well done.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay,
thanks, guys.
So that was God Jam It and the 80 Spies, a very different take, but still with a bit of disco and some music. So Team 5, we have Opposable 24, and their game is so mysterious it doesn't even have a name. So welcome to the stage.
In 1984, German pop philosopher Nena wrote the song 99 Red Balloons. In that song, she outlined a chilling vision where the release of 99 red balloons would cause a global thermonuclear apocalypse. In our game, that is a very real and present danger. You play as the 3D character from the beginning of the Dire Straits' Money for Nothing video, as you can see in his room. Now, well, we are two things in our team. We are zeitgeisty and we are technically overambitious. So we have made a game for the Oculus Rift. So for Ed, who's now playing, he's enjoying it for its, in its full manner. For the rest of you, you're going to have to either defocus your eyes or just concentrate on one half of the screen. So as I say, you play as the character from the Dire Straits' Money for Nothing video, and you can travel between pop videos from the 1980s in order to prevent global disasters via your magical television set. So Ed, if you don't mind walking towards your magical television set, and then you can start the game proper. Oh, well, that is more difficult then. We, obviously being technically overambitious, we also have overambitious technical problems as well. So, I mean, it worked earlier on. I mean, it's just one of those things that happens. So one of the things we decided to do was, because I missed the storytelling panel earlier on, but I'm assuming, oh, there we go. That's better. I'm assuming that the story of this game is kind of what you were talking about in terms of improving stories. So we've got no audio, have we? So obviously, as you move into the main game, you'll see that your role as international video traveling superhero is to collect the 99 red balloons and therefore stop the world being destroyed by nuclear war. And one of the things that we decided to do was make Mirror's Edge 2, because we thought EA have had 5 years and they've not really stepped up, so we did it in 9 hours, so they can basically go suck it. Can we swap in judges? Sorry, Ed, all that messing around in the room has really cost us. Yeah, Keith, do you want to have a go? So I should probably introduce us now. I've done the talking about games. We're Opposable 24 because myself and Lucas, we work for Opposable Games in Bristol, and Ross Mansfield is our highly talented 3D artist from 1024, which is a great 3D production house in Sheffield, and our fantastic music's been provided by Eduardo Velasquez, who's a freelance composer for films and games. And yeah, and that's kind of us. I will let you enjoy the show without blithering over it. The other thing to note is that because we knew that Keith was on the judging panel, we've obviously adopted a very left-wing and liberal bias to our game story, which we think would play well with his Guardian readership. There's in-game advertising. That's the other way it's like Mirror's Edge 2, because we feel that's the sort of thing EA would probably do with it. So you've got adverts for us, you've got adverts for Rezzed, because we're kind of pandering to the show. And that's, yeah. Once you collect 99 red balloons, the world is saved, and you can move on to the next video and perhaps assassinate the people from the safety dance, or wipe out those scary glowing eye people from Total Eclipse of the Heart. They're the kind of areas we're going to take the game in later days. And yeah, and we knew that Chris was on the panel, so what we're doing is going to be kickstarting this and hopefully break that $4 million mark, just to kind of rub it in his face. And I mean, we are pretty confident we will make that, because it's awesome. Whoa! We got 15 seconds if you want to swap in, Chris. You can meet up afterwards if you want to play a game. And yes, so we didn't really have a name, but we were thinking of Rezzed Edge, but then that was awful, so we dropped that. It doesn't really work, so we've just let it kind of speak for itself name-wise. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Gary Coleman.
So Well done. Good stuff. I'd like to draw attention to how Keith is managing to walk back to his chair now. So that was Opposable 24 with their mysterious game. We have one team left and some background music. The final team is Force of Habit and Clockwork Cuckoo, and it's their game, The Agent, Glory to Moscow. So up to the stage, please.
Right, well, if you're anything like me, when someone says to you the 80s, you instantly think about arcades and the Cold War. So we thought we would try and make a Soviet arcade game as if it was some kind of lost artifact from the sort of mid to early 80s. So it's all in Russian. None of us speak Russian. So, yeah, hopefully that's not offensive, but it should say insert coin and 2 players. And yeah, we started off by giving ourselves, we wanted to do something kind of non-violent. We don't want to sort of do a shooting kind of 2-player game. We wanted to do something multiplayer, so we thought of the cat and mouse mechanic, which seemed kind of fitting with the Cold War era of the agent and the target. So those are basically the 2-player roles. So it's a chasing game. Each player plays a different geometric shape and has to chase the opponent over a number of rounds. They switch roles between each round. And there's an overall score, best of, I think it's 7 we've got, and best of 8 actually, which sounds crazy but makes sense. So if you guys want to kind of boot the game up, I can sort of talk through it. So it's all kind of designed to look a bit like a Atari kind of vector game, but in an alternate universe. So everything's geometric. You've got 2 players, each player's a colour. The player that's doing the chasing, the agent, is a filled-in colour, and his target is the empty shape. So between each round they'll swap. At the bottom is a timer. If the target manages to evade capture for that period of time, they get a point. If they don't evade capture, then the agent gets a point. You'll notice various power-ups that are occurring throughout the level. Those are colour-coded, so some of them will be for one player, some for the other, and there are white ones that apply to both players. They do things like teleport you to another position in the level. They will swap your positions in the level. And there's some crazy ones that do things like put a speed burst mode where everything goes like triple to quadruple speed, which hopefully we'll see again at some point. But we tried to weight the game quite heavily as if it were an actual Soviet game. So if the target evades capture, the text that comes up says, in Russian it says, the coward escaped. And doesn't get any music. If the agent captures the target, you get like a nice burst of music. So it kind of we didn't affect the mechanics, but we wanted to affect it as if there was some kind of state involvement in the production of the game, because we're that geeky. It was all put together in C++. I did the music. Tom and Sophie, who's hung over in the front row, did the graphics. Ashley did all the programming. And yeah, basically, you can't really see it here, but it's got scan lines and it's got a little bit of like RGB shift and kind of jitter. Hopefully it'll come through. And the inspiration for the soundtrack was it was 1980s Soviet aerobics videos, which they're good. So if you go to YouTube later and check out, there's some amazing electronic music made in Russia for aerobics videos, which is like this, but with a lady talking over it. It's incredible. Hopefully, yeah. So the target, not sure which player that is. You can see the score at the top as well, the number of rounds that is overall. That's essentially our game. That's it.
Oh, that's okay. That's fine. Okay, well, thank you very much. That was Force of Habit and Clockwork Cuckoo and their game, The Agent, Glory to Moscow. So we've seen all of our 6 games now. Our judges have got furrowed brows, and they're scoring each game out of 10. And in a minute, I'm going to ask them to come with me. I think I'll move them away from their seats, and we'll go around the secret corner here. And we'll talk about which game has the highest score, and that game will become our winner. But before we announce the winner, our judges will come on stage, and so will all of the teams. and our judges will offer the teams their thoughts on their games, their expert opinions, and then we will announce the winner, and then we'll all go bananas, and it will be like a carnival. So, judges, I will come down to you, and if would you like to come around here now, and then we can finish and we can deliberate. So, talk amongst yourselves for the moment. Have a breath, and we'll be back. Hello, I just want to say, all the contestants, please could you come to the stage? We're going to have to arrange you, so up you come.
Thomas? Are we going to go in number order or random order? Thomas?
Good idea. So if we have Legion of the Jam, then we'll go in number order. So if we have Legion of the Jam, then we'll Dun, dun, dun. We do have a winner here waiting, but before we announce the winner, we're going to invite our judges onto the stage. I guess you guys are going to have to come in the middle here. So yes, please welcome our judges, our experts. Okay, so we'll run down the list, and if you could offer your expert opinions on the games, that would be great. So we'll start with Legion of the Jam first, and their game Tango Fiesta.
Okay, what did we think about Tango Fiesta? As a child of the 80s, that was like watching my own childhood come back, watching my video collection live out in front of my eyes, so that was quite good. I thought the design was simple, elegant, two-player, you instantly knew how the gameplay worked. It was very 80s. You guys sold the 80s very well. Yeah. I don't know, it just seemed really simple and fun. And the fact that the decades of relevance
would be a score category was a huge plus for that.
It's overused now, I think, as a score category.
I think with all of these, there was like, is it just going to be a meme fest? Is it going to be an interactive pun? And in some ways, that's going to be awesome. Like, I think that was exactly the right size of project to do for something like this. Really nicely executed, nicely sold as well. I think that had locked.
Yeah, there were nice little gameplay mechanics as well. The fact that the enemies moved slower in the grass and then sped up when they got more close to you. So I thought that was quite nice. It had a little bit of complexity to the game. So
then XMPT with beta to the max, a subject close to my heart. Rewinding and the terrain degrading. And that's I think we all thought of Braid at that point. Just thought, oh, okay, that's a thing. And then a beautiful visual metaphor and a kind of like emotional metaphor as well. Really nice, and also fantastically honest about what did and didn't work and what you couldn't put in. I thought that's really good developer practice to say, here's what we tried to do and it didn't work.
Those words of wisdom you guys offered at the end was a huge plus.
I love the fact that the scores went down backwards like a video counter, when you're rewinding. That was really good as well. That was good fun.
The Misfits, we jam in. Third one. I really liked, and just meme-wise, that had the digital watch. It had the Ghetto Blaster.
Rubik's Cube had Simon in it. It was just full of 80s
Little disappointed
artifacts.
that it was an acoustic drum kit rather than a Simmons electronic drum kit, but that's really pretty minor stuff. Fantastic that you guys had come together at this proper game as well, and one of the things I really wanted to play more of.
Yeah, the premise was really clever, and again, the fact that you guys hadn't met before the conference was and what you turned out was great. If there was some way of saving off and recording the tracks that got generated from those sessions, that would be fantastic. But that was a type of gameplay that I hadn't seen before, and it was really inventive. And I saw that being able to build over time. It was really, really well done. Very
it's almost like a music. It was almost like a music toy because the music was so good. I
can see many mothers and fathers being driven crazy by someone playing that game, which is a further plus.
Opposable 24s, 99 red balloons, Oculus Riftage. First time I've ever used Oculus Rift, very nearly threw up. No reflection on the game.
Another bonus point.
That would have been a damning indictment, wouldn't it?
I give it chunks out of 10.
I mean, it's amazingly impressive that that they went that extra step into the third dimension.
Virtual reality being the most 80s thing possible as well.
Yeah. And also having the levels actually based on the specific pop video, that was very, very creative, and I can see a lot of interesting level designs being revolving around that. Anyway, great premise.
And then Force of Habit and Clockwork Cuckoo, The Agent, Glory to Moscow, very polished. I mean, probably the most polished presentation we saw. Very gamey game. That was a really well executed, well implemented.
Yeah, very elegant, very simple.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
I do believe that we forgot to mention.
Didn't we just miss out one?
Yeah, we did. The spies slipped under the radar as expected.
Go back, judges. Come on.
Yeah, so
I don't know. That seemed like a great party game to play. It was very, very well done.
Yeah, I loved the central mechanic of the game. I thought it was a really, really nice idea. That the idea that you've got to reveal yourself in order to win. I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, obviously that's something we've seen in Spy Party.
Yes, exactly.
It was very. Yeah, that was a very polished implementation.
And also the fact that you have a collar that matches the dance floor of the game is also a plus. Well done, well done.
Something that so few developers bother to do.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for your comments, and thank you. Another round of applause, I think, for everyone and their games. So. Before we announce our grand prize winner, I'd like to say all the runners-up will be invited to the Eurogamer Expo this September 26th to 29th, Earl's Court for the entire weekend, for the entire week. So that's something. But here we go. It's the secret bit of paper. So first, I'd like to give an honourable mention to number 5 here. Yeah, hold on, we jam in here. I can't read Chris's writing, that's the thing.
Yes, I write like a doctor.
Yeah, we'd like to give out an honourable mention to you guys first, but the winner today is, you might have guessed it, it's God Jam It and the 80s Spies, and you will be winning and we have very special prize for you, courtesy of Intel and Creative Assembly are here to present them. They are Intel Ultrabooks they're Ultrabooks for you guys. So yeah, if you'd like to come on. So that was our game jam. Thank you very much for coming and watching, and I think everyone will agree that was some amazing creativity, and to be able to do that in a day is incredible. I've never done anything like that. Anything is important in a day. So thank you very much. So next up we have Dean Hall and Daisy, and if you'd like to come and see that, please go on cue again. Sorry. Yeah, another round of applause and thank you.